Hello. Today, being Teachers' Day, I would just like to tell you a few things, the qualities that a good teacher should possess. I have been teaching in different standards. When I began my career, I started with the primary, the third standard, fourth standard, then it was the fifth, sixth, seventh. Now I teach the high school, the boys, especially the English medium. And I have taught for 42 years. And I've enjoyed my teaching. I never felt bored because children are very interesting. Now, how do I make my lessons very interesting? I'm ambidextrous. So I write with both hands. They feel very happy. I read books to them. I tell them stories. In between my teaching and explanation, I do tell. Suppose there is a word that comes in the lesson and a story strikes me, maybe a real experience story or some story. Like I give you an example. As I was teaching poetry, in that poetry, it was given how one should respect one's parents, one's grandparents, understood? And all these lessons we learn from our elders as small children. Small children pick up example is more important than just teaching. One should be an example to the children. So, to make this particular idea clear to them, I told them a story of a double blanket. It goes like this, and this is a story I read when I was very small. And different versions of the story, but the moral is the same. It was about a couple who had a son who could be somewhere around 9 to 10 years old, school going boy. And one fine day he lost his mother. So his father remarried because the home has to run. And the father had his own father living with them. Days pass. The boy was not very happy because you may be knowing what stepmothers sometimes can be. I don't say all stepmothers are bad. But sometimes there are bad experiences because many stories also tell. So this child had a bad experience with the mother, stepmother, because she didn't feed him. I guess she didn't feed him properly or look after him for various reasons. So he told his grandfather, he complained to his grandfather about this mother. Anyway, grandfather did not elaborate it, but someday he told his son is not comfortable in the house. The father tried to solve the problem, but you know what happened? It's so delicate. The father is sandwiched between his own wife, his child, and his father. So it so happened that the daughter-in-law did not want the father-in-law in the house. She says, you choose either between your father or me. So the father said, I don't want to have a discord between husband and wife. You live happily and I'll move from the house. Okay, the grandson was very, very upset, but he couldn't do anything. Anyway, it was decided where the grandfather lives was nobody's problem. I mean, the son did not decide for it. Grandfather said, I will go and make a place for myself, maybe on a station or somewhere. It was decided that he gets a blanket, a new blanket. The grandson says, no, giving the full blanket to my grandfather. We'll cut the blanket into two parts. Why should we waste money over a big, beautiful blanket? We'll give him. It was a great shock. There is suspense behind this. Because he said, when I grow up, I can use the other blanket, it will come of use. So I hope you got the message. When I asked my students, they got the answer. It is to use the same blanket for his father when his father grows old. Because the example was set by the father. So the son believes that what you sow, so will you reap. There are many stories with a moral. So it is wonderful when you tell a real story with a moral. Now many versions of this story are there, but the moral is clear. So this is the way you should introduce your lessons and make it very interesting. Sometimes you should sing. I do that. I don't shy at all. Even if I'm teaching the 9th and 10th standard boys, I do actions when I teach them action stories. Like the Charge of the Light Brigade. It's a wonderful poem. And I teach it with action, so the boys also love it. So 40 minutes of my period, I keep the boys engaged. They like it. Every day it may not be possible, because the attention span of a child will be not more than 15-20 minutes, not at all. So you have to put frills into your teaching, and many other things. You should love your subject. Before that, in fact, you should love the students. You should love. We have many children in our class, 60, 65 students in each class. Years back it was just 35 children. Now you know what happens. Population is then. We want to educate, mass education. So it is like that. You have to learn to adjust and teach 60, 65 students. I don't think it is difficult if you plan your lessons very nicely and make them very happy. So there's automatically discipline. So what is your strength to be a teacher? Your strength is you know your subject well and present it so wonderfully that the children never get bored. Whether it's the children of the KG class or children of the 9th, 10th or the high school, it really doesn't matter. Confidence of a teacher is very important. The language, the presentation, the love for the students is very important. Children come from different backgrounds. You have to understand them. Every child should be understood. That is, I think, the first duty of a teacher. Knowing the background of the child, that helps you, no? Because just like how all our 5 fingers are not same. Pachi bota sarki nastat na, usually we say in our Marathi language. So all 5 fingers are not same, but we require all 5 fingers to work. Same way, the circumstances and background of children is not the same. You have to understand. There are children coming from poor backgrounds, middle class, high class. You teach them values where everybody thinks, irrespective of caste, creed or religion, it really doesn't matter. A student is a student ultimate. And that's why my model teacher is Dr. Radhakrishnan, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Wonderful teacher he was. So I think if all the teachers in the world follow their model teachers, I think teaching and education and learning will be a very wonderful process. It's not only academics that I speak about, the all-round development of a personality. The heart, the head and the limbs. Physical activity is very important to develop the limbs and the health of a child. Health of a child is very important. The child has to eat good food, healthy food rather, not the junk food. It's very, very important. And have a heavy breakfast because the child will be active whole day. And one should see, parents especially should see that the child doesn't carry heavy bags, heavy haversack bags and with too many books to the school. The lighter the bag, the better. And then co-curricular activities have to be encouraged. Each child is talented. Every child is talented. There are some slow learners. There are many circumstances why a child becomes slow learner. Maybe sometimes it is a medical complaint or maybe the family background. Whatever it is, irrespective of the problem, one can attend, one can solve this problem. One can attend to this problem. You have to try to identify, and I think identification of the talent of the child is very, very important. Every child is talented in music, in dancing, singing, painting, cooking. Also children are talented. So many talents, you know, it is, the sky is the limit. The sky is a limit. Even sports, there are different types of sports. Badminton, table tennis, running, 100 meters, 200, swimming. I have seen lot of children being talented. You know, there are some like geniuses. And these geniuses in the class, they finish their studies so much in advance. Sometimes before the teacher can teach, they are ready with the answer. Such children, you can keep them busy by giving them extra project they love doing. I have experimented like that. You can give them some project and ask them, finish the project and give them a few days. They will bring the projects in time so beautifully done. That's the way you have to keep them occupied. Everybody can be taken care of. I feel as a teacher, it's one's duty to take care of all-round development of a personality. Don't think it is a botheration. Reading also is a very good hobby. Ask them to develop hobbies. You know, that develops their skills, you know, their thinking, sharpen their wits. They'll enjoy their studies because classroom study is a small room with so many benches. Sometimes the children cannot move. You cannot help it. It's actually a practical problem. But I think one can solve this problem by handling it in a different, very smart way. And for this, the teacher has to be smart and handle it because it's a dedicated profession. It's a noble profession. There's no two ways about it. We are dealing with human beings. You see, a teacher can build the life of a child or ruin it. Whatever it is, we should think positively and put these qualities also in a child. Thank you.